Thanks so much for joining us, guys. David Tuckman here for the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. We're watching some of the best in the world battle it out. 111,000 euros was the entry on this one. And we have just about 100 entries already.
395 more, right?
Nick doing the math in his head. Five, six, also a double gutter. I mean, a lot of draws out there. You think about all the straight draws out there that Nick can beat, plus obviously any diamond draw. And he decides he has to make this call. He's not going to like what he sees.
Yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah, Nick not happy with the way he played that hand. Needs an ace or a seven, and that is not going to do it for him. And Cabral would have gotten there. Martin would have eliminated Kanit there.
Would you bet the turn, Mustafa, if he checks? Would you bet the turn if he checks? I don't think so.
Sometime.
I don't think so.
30% of the time.
I would win the hand.
You.
He saved you.
Has. Yeah.
Grazie mille.
Yeah.
It's so funny you said 30 sometimes. So annoying, like have to bet versus Martin's hands.
You have to. And you can't bet for that.
I don't think so.
No, you really can't.
Standard cooler.
What?
Cooler.
Kind
I
of
just-
cooler.
I really felt.
And if he folds, you jam. I fight you.
Yeah, you didn't say thank you to me for limping, yeah?
I love you. I love you,
Right.
your kids,
You're a nice
anything,
guy.
anything about you. The EPO.
This is day one of the high roller for the one drop.
Here. I put it for you. Yeah, give him the change. Yeah. I try to help.
No, I think I bet he's a high frequency.
Prize pool right around 10 million euros right now.
Like, probably just fucking
90%.
shove. You can just shove the turn.
Huh?
You
Yeah,
can just shove the turn.
Yeah.
You should probably.
Like with the,
I was
with the
thinking
nail
bet,
or like
But
yeah?
if I bet, he calls me with one pair for sure.
I was thinking to bet like, well, it's a weird spot, you know.
I mean, for you, it's all value.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I was thinking to bet like 50, but it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Mustafa, well played.
I mean, if you
Well played.
if you bet call 50, makes sense. But I like the 125 way more. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'm short stack, but not too short.
You play very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you. My limping strategy is perfect.
No, I limp for you.
Yeah, I know. I was in the limp too.
Jesus.
The check is good.
Now one more double,
Yeah, what the
and
fuck,
I don't ask
Mark?
anything else for the night, my friend.
Martin
I go
limps
sleep
and then
really
he
happy.
checks back and cost me.
What?
Said he had to limp and then check back in order to fuck me over there,
Ah, yeah.
but he did it. He probably did it on purpose just if he wanted me to lose.
You love when Nick loses chips, huh? Talk to me when you are in the hand. Oh, my friend. Martin, let's bust Nick, huh? I don't even like that guy. He called time to anyone.
80.
9 raise 80.
How much is the raise?
80.
80. Big fold. Because of your limp. Call us even, huh? I folded ace-9.
I take it like we are okay now.
Okay. And I double against your enemy, you know? Let's send him to make a rebuy, bro. Let's send him to the rebuy zone.
No, please no.
No, not you, him.
No, please no.
No? Why not?
We're gonna have a new life together, Martin and I. We're gonna be friends.
You don't know? Me and Martin, one day we went to the castle together. Me, Martin, and Filbert. Think about this trio in Nottingham.
Who? Me, you, and
Filbert, right?
who?
Philip.
I understand Hippo, but you say Philip.
Philip.
Hippo was there as well, so we were 4.
Wait, it's not in the Nottingham castle, you know, where Robin Hood comes from. I was there, bro.
See the garden? Lovely garden.
Yeah,
you go
it
to the
was nice.
dungeon?
They didn't let us in the
No.
castle. No, it was too early, it was too late.
Yeah. I think it's a rip-off anyway.
Hi, Fish, asking about our feature table. We've actually had 3 or 4 different
Don't
feature
even look,
tables
Mustafa.
today.
You still owe me that limb. And you gave me a limb back, but now you have to give me check behind on the flop. You know? Think about it. It was 2 streets which wins you the hand.
I really love to play against you, but not against him. So I
He had
fold.
like 8-3. Please put it to the camera. 8-3. 8-3 off.
No.
Yeah.
You will see.
You put it? You
Tight
put
fold.
it?
Small
Yeah,
blind,
I put it.
I think 8-3 off.
Small blind is funny, yeah. Thank you.
What is wrong on this table? This never happened to me last 4 years. That
I had an 8.
2 times I raise, fold.
I had ace-8, bro. Super,
Ace-8?
Super tight fold.
Ace-8?
Ace-8.
Your ace-8.
Yeah, you saw the 8. This is why you didn't play.
I think you played it great.
Thank you.
Great.
I love to play against you, but he scams me. Bro, don't worry. Now we double, and double. Huh? How much you came here with? 810 or something?
No, 650.
So you're making money. Let's
I'm
go.
not
Let's
worried, bro. I'm good.
9 pass. One raise, 18.
Nick raising from the hijack with ace-7 suited. Mustafa with 2 red 6s in the cutoff. I don't think he'll want to call here. He's going to 3-bet. His hand's just not going to play very well when he calls and he's that deep. Just in a terrible situation. Eugene Catchlov, though, with ace-jack off
Just
suit.
told him that double up, yeah? 3-bet. You are good. Really good.
What ends up happening when you call with 6s there is usually you get another call from at least one of the players in the blind. The big blind comes along. You're just not going to flop a set often enough. And you're going to get outplayed and just not be able to get the showdown with 6s. I like this play from Mustafa. I think folding is fine too. And Eugene's going to go with it.
Double up.
You're fucking with me?
No, I
Nick
got
folds.
him cool.
Mustafa Kanit folds.
Ace jack.
And Eugene Catchlov picks up a nice hand. Nice little pot there.
Stream, bro.
Huh?
It's a stream. So just tell me.
Pocket pair.
Who has, who got
Pocket
check?
pair.
You gotta protect the pair. Let's see, Boko.
It's the only hand I think that's good. Pocket 6. If I have 100k left, I play jam, but
5,000, please.
How much did you start with?
1.150. Sorry, big.
You think that's a shove?
Huh?
You think that's a shove with that many people behind you?
Yeah, but
It's me, yeah?
9 pass.
probably.
1 pass.
You fear?
Yours?
Yeah.
3 pass.
Action folds
free bet
around to
60?
Andreas Ayla.
You free bet 60?
I defend the front. I thought
You protected the pair?
What do you have? 60s?
Makes it 90,000.
Yeah?
9-9.
9-9?
Yeah, 9-9.
The Brazilian Ramos with 4-3 off suit.
What is it? 90?
I think it's the same, like shoving and three-betting.
Great play.
No, I'm saying you think you could shove with.
Yeah, but the range they play, the range that for bet me is the same as the range of call.
No, I'm saying you said if you have 100K less, you would shove.
One,
I
like
think
if I have,
it's too early for you.
huh? It's you?
Too many people behind you.
Almost taking a while here. Get a 3-bet here from Ramos. It's 165,000 back over to Eiler. It's getting a decent price, a little bit more than 2-1. In position with 10-9 suited. Might see him call here. He didn't call with 7-5 suited earlier to a 3-bet. But that was a 5x 3-bet. This is actually under 3x. Might see him call here. It's not very deep. Ramos on 2.3 million, Eiler with just over 1 million behind.
I can't remember this. What happened? This is when Marty
He's
said
gonna
I
make the
should
call.
bet.
I think Ramos' sizing just a little bit small. Jack 8, and open-ended here for Eiler. Ramos, the 3-better, out of the big blind, has 4 high. Probably not going to win it at Showdown. And joining me, so I'm not going to be riding solo anymore, is the one and only Maria Ho.
What up?
How are you?
Good, but I heard you're kind of killing it riding solo, so I don't want to get in the mix anymore.
In all fairness, there's been like non-stop table talk. So
Okay.
it's been like me just checking my Twitter account and my email while they're chatting away.
Okay, sounds good. That's what I'm here to do too.
It's been perfect, right? It's just been like, cool, chat away. If you call a 3-bet with 10-9 suited and you flop this, are you just going with it or are you flattening?
I would say that I would just call here. I think there's a lot of ways for you to win the pot without necessarily, you know, building the pot right now. Because, I mean, we can see the cards, so it's pretty easy for us to say. But on this board, if Ramos, you know, had anything even like an overpair, he's going to end up check calling the next street and check folding, which should be in his range if it is a 3-bet pot, you said, right?
Right.
So, you know, Eiler looks like he could have a lot of jacks in his range.
Could have any pair in his range.
And he wouldn't raise if he had trips right now, most likely. So, it just,
Right, he wouldn't. The funny thing is, he's not raising if he has an 8. He's not raising if he has trips. He's probably not even raising, like, if he has 9s or something like that, he's probably just flatting again.
right. So, he has more options if he just calls here with the straight draw, which looks like he did.
It's funny, if the turn is like a 6, Ramos is going to have to check a ton anyway.
Right.
And I guess you can get like ace queen and ace king to fold also on the turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense.
But wait, I just got here, but Ramos just took off with 4-3-0 here?
Yeah, 3-bet.
Okay.
It's been pretty insane.
Catching up right now on the action.
I'll let you know. Okay, so really quick. So Martin Cabral is our chip leader at the table. He's in seat number 9, just to the right of the dealer. And if you don't know Martin, he has a knack of getting under people's skin.
Okay, didn't know that. That's good to know.
He won a bracelet a few days ago, though. Won his first bracelet here. And then we got a stacked table. I mean, every table's stacked. It's a 111,000 high roller. What do you expect?
Right.
But Nick Petrangelo, Mustafa Kanit, Sinclair,
Well, this is
Ramos,
an
the Brazilian.
interesting card. I mean, if Ramos doesn't barrel on this card after the turn goes check, I don't know. I mean, it hits his 3-betting range out of the big blind pretty well. Like, I
was gonna say
feel
ace
like
queen and ace king got there.
if he checks this hand, then, I mean, if he checks this river, you can't really be 3-betting 4-3-0 if you're not willing to bet this pretty perfect river card, I think.
Like it feels like Eiler could have like a pair, like maybe he has sevens,
Right.
something along those lines.
But is 300K going to get the job done here is the question.
Why not just move all in? Eiler only had 690.
Yeah.
Put his tournament life on the line.
Wow.
Wow, and again, it works. And it works.
Well then.
See what we know. I did not think that would work.
Is re-entry still open right
It
now,
is.
by the way? Okay. Then
Are you thinking of entering?
only if I get drawn this table. No, I mean, because that should have maybe factored into Eiler's decision about, yeah, sure, it's like just under half his stack to call there, but it's 300K to win, 1.2 million, and re-entry options still open. I don't know. Like I said, I just got here. I haven't seen what's been happening or the table dynamics at this feature, but I don't know.
I mean, when he 3-bets pre, bets flop, checks turn, and then bets small in the river, it certainly looks like value. But at the same time, you're getting 4-1.
Absolutely. Right.
Nick's going to raise under the gun with 10-9 suited. Well, I guess if you're going to fold the river, you probably should have just shoved.
8-10.
True. Okay, now that I see, okay, you're
know him.
saying that he gets on people's nerves. Yes, I have heard that, and I have heard that people have been consistently calling the clock on him because he takes too much time. So, yes,
Our chat loves him. The chat just absolutely loves him. Once again, Maria Ho alongside me here for the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. This is the 111,111 euro one-drop high roller. Check, check. Still king, queen, buddy.
and I'm sure that Petrangelo's going to go
So which
for
seat is open?
the
Oh, this
delayed C bet
800,
here
right?
after checking the flop.
So which seat is open? There or there?
How much is it?
I think C2 is open.
How much?
Because I'm 3, he's 1.
Oh, okay.
Actually, we'll take some ice.
So I got all the space. Got all this space.
When did you get here?
I got here 2 days ago from Macau, where I was playing the ACOP tournaments there, which were a really good tournament, like really, really good
We
tournament
got 2 more
series.
levels.
I've been working a lot with your, I feel like your partner in crime.
Yes. My
Tiffany
other
Michelle.
half, she may call herself the better
level, we order
half.
whiskey.
I don't know if
Next
you
level, we
believe her
order
or
the
not. I certainly will not
Whiskey, no.
You
I
know.
will go with red wine.
make you
what?
choose
Red
right
wine.
here, right now. But
I'm not a whiskey
Makes me
person.
so sleepy though. Maybe last level.
Yeah, I got to work with Tiffany
hour.
in Brazil on an 8-8 live,
Yeah.
and then of course again in London. And I feel like we kind of have this love-hate relationship right now. Kind of like brother-sister.
yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
It's nice. I get nothing but schwanz. I just get dealt nothing but schwanz, so I can just chill out. It's good. No making a fool of myself.
Okay.
Eugene Kachelov raising the
Probably
90,000.
stack.
Huh?
You can chill. Your day is good.
So you're playing tomorrow, I assume?
Yes, I'll be playing the main
average, I got
tomorrow,
4,
just in case I need to take advantage of the re-entry option for 1B or
Which
whatever.
there's no chance you'll need that.
I mean, I'm hoping to bag the chip lead tomorrow.
Right, and I figure after you win that, you'll jump into the high roller.
Sure.
Right.
Is Lucas still here, Floorman? Is he still here?
It's like you
Luca?
read my itinerary.
Jacks are cheap. Jack, Jack 7, no suits. A
So-
gutter here for Nick.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, Kachalov has a lot of backdoor draws, but he may just elect to check here as well and turn some equity.
How's your jet lag? What is the time difference in Macau? Because you're the opposite. I
It's
came
like
in from LA.
Macau is 7 hours forward from here. So
Wow.
it's all messed up. Like my jet lag has jet
So
lag
you and I are
right now.
actually probably similar. You're just a full day ahead of me.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. So do you want me to tell you what happens tomorrow?
Please.
Okay, I do bag the chip lead, but I wanted you to be surprised. And
No, I mean I'll act surprised.
Okay,
I
good.
have some acting experience.
Good.
I can totally pull it off. I have a lot of belief in myself. I'll even, guys, just for you, I will record me being surprised, and I'll put it out there, and you guys can let me know what you think. Queen High is the best hand. Is Nick gonna let Eugene get the showdown with Queen High?
I'm not sure if I love that Eugene checked back the turn. Yes, he didn't turn any equity, but I think that a lot of times, you know, if you had a hand like 8s, 9s, sometimes you would check the flop and bet the turn, and you can rep a lot of value there.
This is an interesting little spot because I'm trying to think, what hand is Nick trying to rep? I mean, he bet half pot. Certainly he would bet a 7. Obviously he's going to bet a jack. No matter what it is, Eugene lets it go. I'm just wondering if, could you ever hero call with King High, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect Nick to bet ace high on the river.
Right.
So that excludes that part from the hand, that hand beating you there. But Nick would bet a 7. Nick may or may not play a jack like that. I mean, the turn did bring a backdoor flush draw, so Nick might have just led the turn, hoping that, you know, Eugene has a hand that he's going to call the turn bet with. If Eugene has ace high, Eugene sometimes will check that flop too, and obviously call a turn bet most likely. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you can pretty much exclude Nick from
I'm
having
telling you,
ace
but
high.
he's abusing that.
There's more.
He never calls the clock in other spots when the hand was over 10 minutes, and he was yeah. Sure.
Did somebody come and put the clock on you? Did the clock come and put the clock on you?
Yeah, he was calling the clock.
Luca, by the way,
on me
is the
after
tournament
1.5
director here
minutes,
at
I
King's
believe. I
Casino.
don't know.
The clock has
And he has had this conversation with
Yeah,
this
but
exact
it's
person.
very disturbing for
Probably
me
4
in
dozen
playing.
times
It's
in
a
the
big
last
tournament.
years.
I don't want to repeat this to tomorrow or in final table. So please tell him something. That's all.
It's okay, it's okay.
Thank you. How much is that? 85. Thank you.
Call it now.
Oh man, he forgot to tell me something, Martin. he walked right away and didn't say anything.
He's discussing your punishment now.
He must be a forgetful guy.
85.
How did you say you pronounce his last name? Cabral?
Cabrelia.
Isn't he very good friends
is
with
his
like
name, this guy?
Leon Sukernick too? And
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they also kind of, I don't want to speak on their relationship, but from what I've seen, it kind of looks like
I know
a
he's
love-hate
French.
relationship.
okay.
If
I've
French.
seen them kind of like get into it and play heads
He's
up
for
for
sure
high
French.
stakes, and at the same time kind of battle.
Okay. I was
Hey,
gonna
his
say I
name's
would
not
like to
Hey.
see
I
him
assure
and
you.
Leon at the same
Okay,
table. That
okay.
would be fun.
Yeah,
to
the
watch.
point is that he has some personal problem which he solves like this. Yeah, that's the problem.
Call it.
And he's even smiling about it. Yeah. No, I don't like it. He's even make fun of it.
By the way, this is day 1.
85.
It's gonna be. It
Still
could be
85.
a long tournament.
It's still 85. It's been 85. What do we think Cabral has here? We don't know the other card is. I assume like 5-4,
If it is, that would be
5-4, ace-4, or
Yeah.
4s.
yeah, probably.
The only 3 possibilities, really, right?
Yeah. And now that we see Musta having a 4 in his
85,
hand,
I'm gonna go
less
with 5-4
likely.
spades.
Right. I was gonna say we should go ace 4 or 5-4.
Sure.
A nice little Versace shirt Musta has on. I'm pretty sure. It's
He always looks so good. Oh wow. Well, if he's got 5-4 spades,
That's
this is a
pretty
really good
decent
flop for him.
Yeah.
since the ace of spades is out there, I'd put up a good amount of money. That's 5-4
Like
spades.
8.
9?
Yeah.
9 behind, yeah?
No, 9 starting. 9:20 starting.
Thank you.
I am surprised that this isn't a shot clock tournament, though, considering most high rollers are shot clocks these days. That would just take care of that problem that Petrangelo seems to have with the time.
Wow. Well, Cabral checks this back, so I'm maybe it is 2 4s.
Yeah, now I'm a little, I'm thinking if he's checking back a straight draw, flush draw there in position, then it's
4 spades,
less
4 hearts.
likely that he has 5 fours of spades.
Canute checks his pair of queens. Ramos checks the 8s. Cabral still with presumably either 5 high or a pair of 4s. At this point, looks like 4s. How did Macau go, by the way?
I had one small cash that just isn't worth writing home about, so not great. Hoping to turn that around here. I played like 4 tournaments, so.
That's the great thing about tournament poker. I mean, you know how the game is.
Yeah, that's
Do
not
nothing for 3 months, and then boom, you hit 1, and you're like
exactly.
golden. Before you know it, you're Bryn Kenny.
I want to be Bryn Kenny when I grow up, so.
Yeah, so do I.
Since I got moved here, no one's coming.
Well,
Mustafa, not a believer. He's going to call. I imagine Ramos is going to get rid of it, and the Brazilian does just that. And we're heads up here.
Good luck, Mustafa.
Thank you, my friend.
What do you need on the river? I will call the card for you. What do you need? Too late. It's not your card, yeah?
I mean, Cabral does have some, obviously we know he doesn't have the ace 4 of spades, but he does check back
It's
some
your card.
aces
Like the river, yeah?
on
Flash
that
draw.
flop, but very
Flash draw on the
unlikely that
river.
he
You're
would
pretty good.
multi-way, so I mean,
Thank you, my
obviously,
friend.
Well played.
Mustafa
I always
was going to
respect
call
you.
that
Huh?
turn,
I'm
and I'm
not.
expecting that
I'm
Mustafa would
smiling
have called
because
a
I'm a
river
happy
bet since
person,
there were
but
some
don't
missed
think
draws
it's something
there.
with you. You know, I really do love you.
But now
a
we
little
will
bit so I can
never,
hear you
No
back.
problem.
but now we'll
I-
never
I'm in
see
your
what
house.
I just hate
Cabral
I don't
has,
wanna laugh
but
about
it's
you
He
ever.
a
immediately
little
starts smiling
perplexing.
and making fun of it, yeah? It's not nice. It's not nice.
I don't know what Cabral had
He-
there. I'm going to go with either 4s or
I'm
5.
tranquilo,
Either
I'm
way, I really dislike the way he played that hand.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Handshake, handshake. We cannot be like this in the TV table. You guys fighting, you laughing like a piece of shit all the time. Come on.
I think it makes
Guys,
it much better TV.
It's not
actually.
funny.
Conflict is good.
You're
I
so,
do
you're
too.
so bad instigator.
At school I was the worst.
Yeah, I know, I can tell.
No, of course, it's not the problem, but he has some
This isn't your
problem
first
and
trip
he
to
makes it
Rostov,
like
is
that.
it?
He
It
tries to
actually
stress-
is my first trip
Oh,
to
wow.
Rostov. I have never been here, but I have been to the Czech
Thank you very
Republic,
much. Thank you, Kate.
but
Thanks,
not
Kate.
to this particular
Kate, you're
part.
amazing. I love you.
Where's Lucas?
Kate, next time, Luca.
Yeah, by the way, 888 live events.
He
all
can
have a shot
handle
clock
Martin
now.
better than you do.
Yeah,
And I
I
am a
heard,
fan, I
and
like
I think I think
crazy
that
that
it
he-
should obviously be extended to not just the high roller events. I think it's kind
Can
of
you
good
stop?
to get
I'm not
more
your
players
partner on
playing
this.
with
Stop.
the shot clock.
Okay?
Yeah, I think
Bro,
poker's going
Martin
there.
I'm
is
done
my
with you,
friend.
bro.
I don't want to laugh
I'm
about
just
Martin
surprised this
ever.
event wasn't
I'm
won.
in his King's Casino, he's home, so leave me alone.
Bro,
Let's laugh about him. Huh? This American guy.
yo, you're on
Mustafa
thin
Canute
ice,
might be
bro.
my new favorite player.
No, I would
Yeah.
never laugh
He's
about
just
been
him.
love
my
the
he's
sarcasm.
been one of my favorites.
That's it. All these years.
I love all of the Italian players. Like
We play so much online, you know. I loved you since you were crushing me.
Just this passive aggressive kind of
Thank you very
sarcastic.
much.
but like so good natured, you know, like there's this like
Oh, but totally. But
yes.
he's making fun of you while he's smiling
Ah,
at you,
you want me?
which is just great. Sinclair in the big blind with jacks. Decides not to raise. He just calls.
Free player.
Yeah, I don't mind him just calling catch-a-lots race here from under the gun
Where is the
plus
flop?
one.
I need the
Just
flop.
because, you know, you don't
put it
really
down.
want to play a huge
10
pot out of
8
position
deuce,
with jacks.
rainbow.
Yeah, but I
Nobody
like
likes
You
jacks.
have 1-8 over there. 1-8.
Who likes jacks? Like,
Three eights
who
on the
wakes
flop.
up in a multi-way pot and is like, wow,
It's a
I've
bad
got
promo.
jacks here.
It's
This
a
is a
bad promo.
great spot
oh,
to be.
I would put it out now.
I like jacks, but I'm stupid.
said one,
I do
one of
like
them.
jacks, but it's just the hand
was
that
not
everyone's
good
like,
promo.
oh. I never know how
I
to
feel like
play
I swap
jacks.
sets more with jacks than I do with other hands.
It's all right. It's all right, Mustafa.
Really?
No,
I feel
no,
like
bro,
I
don't
swap
worry.
sets
Anything-
more with like
anything you need.
nines for that type of.
I get you, bro.
So Sinclair actually leads out.
I think that's interesting.
160 from the gentleman.
Yo, he's gonna have Leon
Of the
kick me
big
out of
blocks.
I
this
mean,
place
I don't
forever.
hate
Which
it
never played
if
hand
he
on
thinks
TV
that
table.
doesn't give a
there's
shit.
a
You
chance that this flop might
pretty
get checked
strong.
around,
If,
and his hand is
it would
actually
be
a
the
lot
opposite.
stronger than it
Ah,
would
you
appear
still
to be.
Martin, give me
But
five.
but I don't know. Normally, I would still probably check call with this hand in this spot. And
Kachelov makes the call. Action is on Cabral. With ace deuce, backdoor clubs, pair
Back in
deuces.
business.
I mean, Kachelov obviously
bro.
called because he has a
Much
gut
you have?
shot, straight draw, plus
1 mil.
the backdoor
1
spade
mil.
draw.
Yeah.
Plus,
fucking
he's
gold.
the original raiser. But I kind of feel like if that's the case, then he could have. You can make an argument for him raising this flop as well, because it does look like Sinclair's a bit weak here, even though he's not.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you lead out with an overpair like jacks, and I was in a similar situation against you. I don't want to get into it, but when you lead out with a hand like this, sometimes you can end up leveling yourself
million behind?
because you are kind of under repping your hand when you lead out here. You're actually stronger than you're repping.
Yeah.
And if you get raised, you're thinking, well, are they raising me because they have it, or are they raising me because I've under repped my hand?
Exactly.
Nonetheless, he gets called. Well, that's a scary card for everybody involved.
Definitely. But I think Sinclair has more tens in his range than really anybody else. I mean, there are a few hands Eugene would raise from early position with a 10, like ace 10 suited and jack 10 suited, but obviously Sinclair blocks jack 10 suited. I mean, there's a few hands that do contain a 10, and especially when, you know, you lead there, and then you have Kachelov calling, and then Cabral overcalling, and you don't have the 10, then it does make the 10 a scare card for your
Right.
hand.
I mean, is Sinclair leading out a lot of like, I mean, he's in the big blind, so he's got a ton of tens.
Right.
You know, 10x suited everything basically, plus like 10-6, 10-7, 10-9, and obviously every
Yeah.
bigger 10. Is he leading out with those hands though? It seems kind of.
Well, I personally wouldn't play it that way, but I don't see the difference between him leading out with jacks
250?
versus him leading out with a 10, though. So
Right, yeah, it's probably not.
I think it's a similar hand.
And I think the interesting point that you mentioned there, without saying it, but is sometimes we assume our opponents play like we do. And that's not necessarily true.
Right. So it looks like Cabral decides to bet now that it's check to him, and
He's got some
Sinclair's
tens.
going to
I
make the
mean.
call. Yeah, he does have some tens, but he is going to have to fire this river pretty heavily, I think, to get Sinclair to fold.
The problem is Sinclair
Are we
could
coming
still
back
have a
to
10
there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
and play it this way.
Sure.
if he ends up bleeding here, he definitely took a strange line with this hand, but okay. I
By the
thought
way,
he thought
Jack
about
9 also got there now.
it. Yeah.
Show me, please.
He says, show me, and jacks are good.
Second place. Second place for me. Lucky river, yeah?
No slow? Okay.
Lucky river.
Lucky river. It actually is a lucky river in the sense of Sinclair does block Jack 9, so it's less likely that Cabral has
and the
Jack
chips?
9. So if
Right.
Cabral
No.
did bet,
Back players
he's really
from the
limited to
high
chip
roller
tens
for
or-
one drop are now on a 15-minute break. I am joined by two Italian stallions here.
Best two Italians.
Ciao,
the
mamma.
beautiful one
And the what? What is he?
and probably the
Much
best
smart,
one.
much pretty, hottest guy in the poker world, most brilliant, most generous, and Dario San Martino over here, the king.
And much
of
drunk
Naples.
right now.
Okay.
He's drunk in the one drop.
You're drunk in the one drop. You're supposed to be taking
I mean,
this seriously.
I play more easy. Yeah, I play
less
better.
stress.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But only Dom Perignon, because otherwise he doesn't drink. No, I'm
Talk
honest,
to me
I'm
about
honest.
this feature table.
Yeah.
Not a final table yet, because you're bringing a little bit of fun to it. Talk us through playing with Martin Cabral. What's that
No,
like?
it wasn't me. It was Petrangelo.
Other guy.
Petrangelo, like they don't really like each other. Like he calls time on something, and Petrangelo was making fun of him. I didn't really like the situation, but I was there enjoying my time. Put it this way.
You know, it's
I love Martin. I love both of them, and I didn't want to put myself in one side. but they should take it more easy, you know, like why they fight so much?
According to him, this shirt is everything. He says, you are everything. What does that mean?
Who tell me I'm everything?
Martin described your shirt as everything.
Martin loves me. Martin loves me. Martin Cabral.
Martin is crazy. Martin is crazy
Martin,
and
we are
also
speaking
dangerous.
about you.
Bro, we speak bad about you.
We said you are crazy,
speak bad about
and
you.
we said you
They're
are
friends,
also
really.
I'm saying two words. The best guys.
We love you, Martin. Hey.
There we go. They all love each other here. How's the tournament going for you? We know you're drinking wine. Is it going well?
Now is good.
Bro, the
good
camera
tournament.
is there. Don't look at
Bro,
her all the time.
I wanna talk here.
Okay. I sit here.
Go in your side, please. Okay. Now is really nice the tournament.
Okay.
In the next 2 hours, we'll see. Probably better. Probably better.
Okay, and you're a bit upset because
No, me?
you're
I'm
not
upset.
wanted on the feature table anymore. We're having a new
No,
feature
it's not
table
nice,
after this
it's not
break.
nice. To bring Fedor back. What the fuck is this Fedor? I'm perfect. Look, there is someone with.
Come on.
I'm
with,
perfect.
This shirt.
This is
You
mine.
have to make a feature table.
Now, next feature table, me and Dario. Eh?
Guys, you're going to have to stop talking or you're not going to get a break.
Oh.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
you.
We
Thank
wish
you
you all the
very
best of
much.
luck. We love Italy. We love the Italians. But unfortunately,
Italian energy. We are so positive.
Yes.
We are different than all these weirdo.
The German.
okay, enough alcohol.
Drunk, I'm naturally like this. So
This is worrying. This is natural. Okay, we're going to be coming back very, very soon with a brand new feature table. I think we might bring him back, though. Everyone is going to want him. But Fedor will be back on this feature table after this quick break.
Bye-bye.
First hand, right after dinner. And we get right into it. Isla just called. You wonder if can a river card come off to save him? That's not going to do it. That is not a card that is going to save him. I don't see any play besides moving all in here and a call. Wow. Ramos now checks. It's one of those funny hands that you watch. And since we can see the cards, we know that you don't have to be that fancy with this. This is really easy. But obviously they don't know what each other have. But, I mean, there's no way Ramos thinks Eiler has 2 pair here. And there's the bet. And Ramos is going to snap him off. And look at that. There's the double up. Felipe Ramos. With the set of jacks on the turn and the full double up to 3.1 million.
17.
Once Eiler calls the flop, once Eiler calls pre-flop, there's just no way this isn't happening. For those of you who are joining us on Twitch, thanks so much. I can see that we have pretty good viewership, well over 2,000 right now. Any questions you might have in the chat?
Mechanics are very important. These guys are doing like 400 actions per minute, and, 400 to 500 actions per minute. That's insane.
It's crazy.
440.
If you win a match, you're playing like it's like
They play best of 5 now. Yeah.
I mean, to make it to this one, top 16 for a full year,
It's like 600?
440.
440?
It's a little loose.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
That was loose.
You shoved twice, I mean you can't have it, right?
I got you beat the hand before too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And ace king.
How do you always have the best
Ace
hand?
queen versus ace jack here. Mustafa Kanit at risk.
That's no secret.
Only a jack will eliminate Kanit. That, my friends, is not a jack. And on hand 8, after we return from dinner, Mustafa Kanit has doubled up to 960,000. The man with the colorful jacket,
Button.
very dangerous poker player.
Nice hand.
Thank you, sir.
Never stops. Always action.
65. Try again. Let's see what happens.
Oh,
Any girlfriends?
always painful.
I am here, guys, but if the players are talking, I'm going to do my best to keep quiet so you can hear them.
Let's see. Let's see.
There is one girl you like. Good.
But
Where's she from?
Vienna.
Jana.
What about you?
Still we share? Yeah. Good
She
with
here?
her?
Is no she here?
Ah, no. She would never come here.
Yeah. I would never. Yeah.
No. Like never.
It's the worst place to take someone
Yeah.
to.
She came in Asia,
No,
Asia with me.
For a girl.
No. She went back to Israel, the father's birthday. Like, she
Check.
still enjoyed that. I like her. She's positive, good personality. She's really positive.
I thought so. You like her.
Ah, you really do? Check. I mean, it's 1 year and a half almost.
For a poker player, that's 10 years.
Yeah.
Nobody with a spade in their hands.
I always been a long relationship guy.
Kachilov with the best hand right now with
Usually,
9-7.
when I get in a relationship, if I like her, I stay at least 1 year. But with her, I never had
Ramos
problems.
not gonna take a shot at it.
We had really big fights. She's really good at
And I think at this point, Kachilov knows he has the best hand.
That's good.
Yeah. Really smart too. I'm actually impressed.
So she's watching.
No. She will never. Maybe. Now she understands a bit the rules, so maybe she will watch, but in general, she never been a poker fan.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. What's next for you? What's next?
Kachilov now betting for value.
Like
130,000.
Maybe I want to go Amsterdam. Like play, chilling, she will come, some other friends. Maybe play 25K and make that. And then I go New Year's in Brazil.
Brazil?
Yeah.
Why so?
Felipe was like, let's do it. I think we go this year. Dan Coleman with his girlfriend, she's also Brazilian.
Who?
Dan Coleman,
Oh,
his
yeah, I know
girlfriend.
her. Yeah.
This guy. Yeah. So, yeah.
And Eiler with a real
then
sexy little
maybe
check
PC.
raise here on the river.
For sure, Australia.
Once again, look at the action on the left side of
Zero
this
PCA.
left side here. Pre-flop, raise
For
from Ramos,
Australia and then,
call by
travel.
Eiler, call by Kachilov.
I want to go.
Flop,
Bali.
check, check.
Bali.
Turn,
Yeah.
check, check.
And
Yeah.
River,
Indonesia,
check,
maybe.
bet, fold, back over to
Singapore,
Eiler.
maybe.
Now Eiler's
I
check
really
raised.
want to do Bali and Japan. I've never been to
These are
Japan.
the two. These are
360,
Yeah.
back
Most
over
likely do-
to
Australia and Japan I
Kachilov.
do for sure. And then Bali 90%, and then
I really
have,
wanna do Bali.
have some options like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. I always want to do these.
Never have time.
Depends how much time. But also maybe Tibet or Nepal. I always want to do that region too.
Shiri wants really to
Looks
go.
like Kachilov's going to
Not
call.
my place, but she really wants to.
I've heard. I have this. You know these places
Trying to figure
where
this
you have
out.
this beautiful picture in your head. And
Cool
you
little
just have
check
to
raise
figure
there
it
by
out.
Eiler. Eiler, of course, on the left side of your screen. Wow. What a play by Eiler.
It's a little too risky.
Where your father from?
65.
My mom.
Your mom. You been there?
Yeah.
You like it?
Very nice.
Which language do you speak there?
The Wolf
English and Spanish.
has been eliminated again. I believe he has 3 entries already. See if he has a 4th one coming into him.
The race is 70, yeah?
Convenient.
Elke has decided to re-enter. Dmitry Urbanovich and Rob Young have also entered the high roller after dinner. So Elke firing another bullet in this one. Ramos makes it 65,000. Cabrel has 3-bet with kings. $18 players remain in the little 1-for-1 drop. Artan Dadusha, currently 2nd in chips in that one. So keep an eye on what's going on over there.
Whatever.
Fedor's in a lot of trouble here. Fedor all in the big blinds. This is a button open, small blind 3-bet. Fedor all in with ace jack.
Ace jack.
You have a good feeling. You have a good feeling.
Well,
That's
certainly got a lot of
great
outs
club for
here.
a good
Looking
feeling.
for a 7, a queen, or an ace. 11 outs, 2 times. That's not going to help him. And that's not going to help him either. And Fedor has been eliminated. We'll see if he decides to re-enter.
I have
See you soon.
See ya.
Queen jack?
have the next.
Queen jack?
No, flush, ace high flush.
Ah. So you would call me pre-flop, and I'll...
He called me time a couple times too.
No.
You did.
No, he never called time. He never.
Not you.
You did. No, never. No.
No, he said never. Never. Never, ever.
No, to me never. It's
No,
true.
never.
The last
He said never.
2 weeks ago, Green would call me time. I almost fight with him.
What do you play, Mustafa?
I play about
800, yeah?
800, yeah.
$660.
Snapfall.
Ace high flop, 2 spades out there. Mustafa Kanit, the flush draw. Petrangelo with a gutter. He's gonna bet. We know that's not gonna get through though.
Słucham tylko o coś. Słucham tylko z boku. Aha. Ikę.
Call from Kanit.
Andy, you had it there? Queens? You had it there? Queens? Kings? And when I almost forbet.
Nick picks
had
up
it,
a
yeah?
flush draw
Please, tell me
to
you
go
had
along
it.
with the gut shot.
Please. I mean, it would be like awesome read, yeah? Because everybody would forbet.
Ace green. Ace green?
No, automatic 3-bet hand. So you are smart enough to know that. And it was not ace jack. Ace jack was pretty good guess, yeah.
Ah, nines. Nines?
Don't joke with me, okay? Tomorrow we can joke. What nines? Nines is not for betting hand.
I don't know.
You don't know. You know everything.
Kaneet's going to call the turn as well. Jack high, still the best hand right here. Oh! And Nick gets there. I was wondering what happens on like a red 8. Does Nick bet and he wins the pot, or does he check and give up? And here he's made the straight. And he's going all in. And obviously Mustafa Kaneet, frustrated, has to let his hand go.
Big draw though.
Draw?
The 111 euro one drop high roller here in Rosvadov, 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. This is event number 10. For Aldo, Neil Farrell, Scottman, won his first ever bracelet.
What is it? It's not Sauron and Saruman.
And completed the Triple Crown. Congratulations to him.
Two big hobbits.
Earned himself over
Two small
$750,000
hobbits.
euros.
So he's Sauron Raging.
I was gonna ask you which character.
We are small hobbits.
Small. Not
Cabral, you're
Frodo.
not a hobbit.
Not Frodo though.
You're Golem. Come on.
Get a raise here from Eiler. Eugene
What do you say?
calls.
You're Golem.
Golem?
Yeah.
Gollum.
Such a go.
It means Gollum.
Why?
You
He's
know
not
Gollum?
even
Yeah,
from
of
Lord
course.
of the Rings.
Smeagol.
What is it? 19?
Smeagol. That's it. Smeagol.
When,
For sure, Smeagol.
no, just
The same.
he's
Same
Gollum.
character.
When Leon banned him for 24 hours, he becomes Smeagol for 24 hours.
Action on Cabral in the big blind with 5 deuce offsuit. And he's going to let it go. Heads up here between Andreas Eiler and Eugene Kechelov.
Small hobbit. Fault.
This is just day 1, by the way, of what will end up being a 3-day event. Re-entry has not even closed yet. Eiler's going to bet. Kechelov's going nowhere.
This is pretty good, yeah? This is pretty good, yeah? But unfortunately, on my final table, I was sitting there.
Some nice music in the background here at King's Casino. We are at the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. We are approaching the last 2 levels of the 111,000 euro high roller for 1 drop. That's right, don't forget, we are raising money for a wonderful charity and a wonderful cause. This is day 1. Come back tomorrow at 2 p.m. for day 2 action, which means the live stream will be at 2:30 local time. I want to say that we are 6 hours ahead of New York, East Coast. Just trying to figure out exactly what our time is so I can help everybody out. Maria Ho, alongside me still.
Hello.
There she is. Okay, so we are 5 hours ahead of New York and 8 hours ahead of LA. 1 hour ahead of London, by the way. The clocks have changed in Europe. They have not yet changed in the United States.
50?
But they are changing on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
It's like there's like 2 weeks a year where the clocks change a little bit differently. So, nonetheless, we see a new feature table and a new improved Fedor. On his right, I saw Dominic Nietzsche, the 3-time bracelet winner.
Doesn't Fedor look like he's wearing like the perfect Czech Republic jacket? Just like a little bit of like, just like the perfect like Eastern European jacket. Like a little bit of fur, whether it's faux or real, on the collar. Like,
Ooh, an Elky too. Yeah, no, I, honestly, you and I said that we wanted to be Bryn Kenny when we grew up. I changed that. I want to be
Elky.
Fedor.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to be Elky. I feel like Elky's a good choice too.
No, I don't
Really?
want to be Elky.
Okay.
I like Elky. But
you don't want to be Elky.
Fedor's he just oozes coolness. You know what I mean? For like a 23-year-old kid, not only is he phenomenally talented, but he's just he's just got it together. You know what I mean?
His mind is primed.
Yes.
You're welcome, Fedor, for the plug.
Hey, we're all about the plugs here.
Unsolicited.
Elky raising with 7-4 offsuit. And Eiler is all in. We know Elky is not going to call, but what is Pidun going to do? See if I get this guy's first name.
Yeah, this is obviously a great all-in spot for Eiler here against the button open of Elky. But I think Pidun does have to make the call here. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't elect to 3-bet his hand from the small blind against Elky's button open.
He's trapping.
Well, if he was trapping, he would have called this all in a lot faster.
I believe Pidun was a late reg because on my original list of 85 players, he is not on there. So as I get more information about this gentleman, I will pass that on to you guys at home. Once again, thanks for joining us here. 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. Last 2 levels of day 1. There's the call, Ace-9 versus King-Jack, and it's Andreas Eiler, who is at risk. German on German violence here. A little fist bump before the flop. King high. Eiler looking for the double up.
The turn is the 4 of clubs, so far so good, and the river is gonna brick Pidun, and Eiler's gonna get a double up here, so that is some good timing there. He was only slightly behind in the pre-flop equities, but flopping top pair and holding is nice here to double. Although, as you said, Dave, re-entries are still open, right? So
Yes, you can actually re-enter, I think, until level 2 tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and I expect like, I don't know, maybe 3 to 9 entries tomorrow morning. Well, tomorrow afternoon, I should say.
And it definitely depends on who ends up busting tonight, because some are more prone to re-enter than others. What is Fedor looking at? That paper underneath the table there.
Okay, bezahlt. Besten.
Oh, well, this is nice. Now Pidun has King Jack suited on the button, and Eiler, after just getting that double up, is waking up with queens in the small blind. So
I find
that's fun.
it's so frustrating to me when you're in like a flip situation against the player and you could have eliminated him.
Right.
You don't eliminate him to no fault of your own, and then he ends up getting you in the next
Oh,
hand.
totally. That happens a lot, actually. Like the person you double up ends up busting you later.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
like that butterfly effect. It's like, if I just beat you that first time, I don't end up losing 3 times as many chips.
Right. And you know, Eiler 3-bets here to 325, and you cannot blame Pidun for calling here with King Jack suited. It's definitely a hand that you can fairly easily call a 3-bet with, especially in position. Broadway suited cards are always very good. Oh, and this flop is going to get him in some trouble. Jack 7 deuce with a diamond. I mean,
I'm not sure. I forgot what Pidun's stack was at. Here it is. Pidun at 4.5 million. Eiler's still at 1.1 million, so he's only got like 22 big blinds behind. I don't see how he doesn't double up on this
oh,
flop.
absolutely.
What's the is it check call here with King Jack on a 2-spade?
I mean, that's how I would play it, but you can't really fault Pidun if he did raise, but I like Eiler's bet here on the flop. I like his sizing because he basically leaves himself with about a pot size. Ooh. He leaves himself with a pot size bet on the turn, but does he want to put in the bet now that a king comes? I don't know. Oh.
I mean, not only does it kill his hand, but even if it didn't kill his hand, it prevents him from getting action. From, let's say, you know, Jack 9,
exactly.
something like that is going to be a little bit more wary.
Oh, I feel bad for Eiler. I don't know. He just looks like a nice guy, and he had Pidun right where he wanted him to. But
well, he can be a nice guy.
Unlucky turn. And now Pidun's going to bet real small here. Now Pidun's turn to put in a pretty small value bet here. Yeah, 375.
Eiler has made some really, really interesting check raise bluffs in the turn.
And has it worked?
One worked on the river, actually, and one did not work on the turn.
I don't know. Pidun looks pretty comfortable. I like that Eiler's kind of trying to talk to him. Maybe he could get away from this, but it's 375K to call, pot of 1.5 million. He might just call again and decide on the river.
There's a lot of hands queens can beat here. I mean, you can beat
For
a jack,
sure.
you can beat 8-9, you can beat 9-10, you can beat spades, you can beat just a random float.
Right. Although with Eiler's stack size behind after he bet the flop, he most likely isn't up against a lot of random floats. And there's a chance that Pidun, with like an overcard and a flush draw, like an ace-X of spades, he would have likely just put Eiler all in on the flop. So I think he can kind of exclude those hands from Pidun's range.
Let me ask you this then. We'll turn. I'll turn the coin over. What is Eiler losing to? I mean, obviously King Jack. We can see that King X of spades.
Absolutely.
But you said
right.
King X of spades might have shoved.
Sometimes could. It also depends. It's very opponent dependent, and his familiarity with, you know, Pidun's game is kind of pivotal in this spot. But to answer your question, right? I mean, there's still a lot of hands that Eiler does have beat. There's not a lot of hands that Pidun has that contain a king in it that isn't King Jack. So it is a tough spot for him. I mean, I really could see Eiler doing either thing here, calling this bet on the turn and then deciding on the river, or just folding here. I don't know. I'm not saying that you should always go with the live read, but Pidun definitely seems very comfortable. He's sitting back. Oh, wow. He's just going to check jam. And that's not, oh, and I feel, I mean, it's not, you know.
Queen ball. Here it comes, baby. Queen ball. Kind of feel the queen of clubs coming, don't you?
I kind of want the queen of clubs to come. I don't know why I have a bias all of a sudden for Eiler, but.
That's not the queen of clubs. Andreas Eiler, eliminated. Not sure if he's going to rebuy or not. We'll go find out. But he has been eliminated. Pidun now up to about 5.5 million chips, somewhere in that neighborhood, as he picks up 1.5 million.
Oh, I need help. Ich kann ihn überhaupt nicht einschätzen.
After the flop, but I didn't think I need help.
Yeah, and you hear him say, I didn't think I needed help. That's such a lucky situation because he goes from a spot where there was really no way he was going to get away from that hand.
Right.
Flopping top pair with a king kicker and your opponent's short to, oh, cool. Now I don't want to get away from it.
Yeah.
We need player, no? Can we play 500?
They might
Play 500?
move a player to the table.
We are going to get a new player at the table. I know who it's going to be, too. But I don't want to give it away.
How do you know?
Well, remember, we're on a 30-minute delay.
Oh, so you went and looked.
Well, I was out there. I was walking into the booth, and I
cheated.
saw.
But I'm the person that's living in the future, not you.
I know,
I'm
so
on
you
the
should
cow's
know.
time.
You should really know.
Ooh.
888 Live, our sponsor here.
Play 500. This is expensive.
But speaking of people we want to be when we grow up, like Vladimir Troyanovsky is a huge boss. Like, he is a huge boss.
I don't want to be him.
I don't know. I think I have to choose him.
Okay.
I'm going to go with him.
I'm okay with that.
And he's the only
bring us
person,
some chips.
no offense to Vladimir, but age appropriate for us to say we want to be him when we grow up.
When we grow up, right? He is the only person at this table. No, he's one of the other tables player that's older than us.
Right, probably. Pidun could be old. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah. Pidun looks like one of those like really, really in shape like 44-year-olds.
Yeah. And really tan in the dead of winter here in Europe.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's November 4th right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, November
You're
4th. What's he doing?
115? 115.
I mean, to boot, not only is he German, we're in the Czech Republic. Where, I mean, it's not freezing cold, but it's certainly not like, you know, tan. You're not getting a tan
No.
weather. He's also a poker player, which means he's inside.
Right.
Get a bet here by Elke. Pidun with just king high, but he has the best hand right now. When you do commentary, do you just kind of like, does it whet your appetite? You're like, okay, I can do this little play.
Oh yeah, 100%. There's only so much commentary I can do before I just like need to get out there.
Got blue chips. Einfach mal Ober wird ausbezahlt.
Elke on about 1.5 million. Pink chips are 500K, guys. Gray chips are 100K. Blue chips, 25K. Orange chips are 5K.
Also, hast du mitgekriegt, was Helmut heute gemacht hat?
Ja?
Helmut.
Ja, ich habe gerade den Tweet gelesen. 13 Hände, ne?
13 Hände gibt. Ich hab's gesagt. Und Basti, dann kommt sie wieder. I just want you guys to know.
Wow, so there's 3 Germans at this table right now then.
I mean, we are right on the border. We're in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
We're right on the border of Germany. It's one of the reasons why this casino does so well for poker. Just a hotbed area. And speaking of Germans, there's Dominic Nietzsche, 3-time bracelet winner and 888 ambassador.
He's gonna raise the queen 5 of clubs here on the button, and Feder with 10-7 of diamonds. I think that this is definitely a hand that he could 3-bet with. I mean, anybody who knows Dom's reputation knows that he is very active. He's gonna open a huge percentage of his buttons. You can make an argument for flatting, but I really don't think that 10-7 suited is more of a 3-bet hand than a hand that you would call with from the small blind.
And Fedor's sizing up to 360,000. Fedor on his second bullet here. He's got about 2.5 million chips. They started with 2 million. Dominic also over starting stack. He's gonna call this. He doesn't like the fold.
I was gonna say, a lot of people would fold the queen 5 suited here, but not Dominic.
Dominic is not a lot of people.
and Dominic is not a folder.
Sam Grafton kind of described Dominic as a wild animal.
I cannot disagree with that assessment. Well, this is good for Fedor's range. I mean, not only does he actually have middle pair, but this is a good flop. Should be perceived as a good flop, I would say, for Fedor's 3-betting range. But it is Fedor, so
So when you're in a situation like this, if you're in the small blind and you decided to 3-bet with a hand like 10-7, are you betting based on what your range is, or are you betting based on what your actual hand is?
I'm betting based on what my range is.
Okay. So in this spot,
You would
I would have thought he would bet.
right versus check calling, which it looks like that's what his plan is since he does have middle pair. But the thing is you can actually exclude a lot of big aces from Nietzsche's range here because with 40 big blinds effective pre-flop, you would kind of expect that against Holtz's 3-bet, Dominic would have just shoved most of his big aces, you know? Maybe not, you know, ace X suited, which he does have a fair bit of those too. But at any ace, king, ace, queen type hand, you would just expect Dom to, I think, jam those against a 40 big blind stack.
I have to assume that Dominic's got a plan here, because he knows one bet is unlikely to win the pot.
Yeah. Well, Dom can turn so much equity here. He has, you know, he has some backdoor Broadway draws. He has backdoor flush draw. He has backdoor wheel draw, actually. So I think I don't know Dom to not triple barrel. So I think he does have a plan. But, oh,
He
wow.
doesn't turn any equity, and Fedor picks up 2 pair. He's going to check it once again. I mean, I don't mind betting the flop with queen 5 of clubs. I just think I've seen so many inexperienced players bet once, like, well, it didn't work. Okay, I'm
Right.
done.
Right.
It's like betting once is just never going to work. I mean,
Right.
shouldn't say never, but the majority of the time, betting once is not going to get the job done.
Yeah. Okay, and I think Dom understands that if Fedor check calls that flop texture after 3-betting, then if Dom doesn't turn any equity, he can't really continue here, and he's right. That's an interesting
I mean, based
card,
on that
though.
logic, by the way,
Yeah.
if that's the logic, then I don't know if, I mean, and I'm going to defer to Dom and Fedor and you every time, but based on the logic of if I don't turn equity on the turn, if I don't turn equity, I am going to just shut down. To me,
Sometimes,
if that's the play, then you probably shouldn't be betting flop.
no, sometimes, not always. Against Holtz's 3-betting range and Holtz check calling this type of flop texture, Dom should shut down on the turn because Holtz's range is pretty strong here.
Right, but that's my point is, okay, is Fedor, when he's...
But when Dom bet, he didn't know Holtz was going to check call.
Yeah.
Okay,
Holtz
okay.
could have check folded. as
Well, that's my question for you.
So,
And I'll throw this out to our audience as well as I
Back on
ask
the table,
Maria.
we need 2 more players. Yeah?
When Fedor 3-bets out of a small blind and a flop comes out as dry as ace-10-3 rainbow, how often is Fedor really check folding? Like, what hands is he 3-betting with and like, oh, well, I'm just going to give up now?
right, but like hands like jacks, queens, and kings, which
He's not check
Could be.
folding jacks, queens,
no,
and
no,
kings.
no, not on the flop. But I'm saying, so it's like a multi-step process.
You should check.
He's not folding the flop, but he could fold on the turn or the river.
I was
So when
checking
you
mine.
bet the flop as Dom, you're giving yourself more options on the turn or the river, depending on if you turn equity, depending on if the flop bet even gets through, depending on. I think you have to take the first step of betting the flop, though, because once you check back that flop, I think it's much harder for you to rep
Bet can never go
certain
wrong.
hands on the turn and the river.
Right.
Didn't feel like you had anything.
Wann hast du deinen Fieber gemacht? Wann hast du deinen Fieber gemacht?
Ah, this is okay. Hoppa.
Ich sitze einfach nur rum in meinem Dame 5 im Kreuz und denke mir, joa. Ach, guck mal.
I guess my point is, and then we'll move on. I guess my point was just simply as I could understand betting the flop and then shutting down
Vladimir was back
if
fine.
the board pairs. Like an ace is a really
Yes.
bad card to keep betting. Maybe even a 10 isn't great
All good?
to keep betting.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit less likely you're going to get kings or queens or jacks
So
to
gut
fold.
Gefühl, wenn man meistens das darf. Alles
I guess I just didn't think the 7, it turned out it was an awful card because it gave Fedor 2 pair. I didn't think the 7 was that bad a card.
Right, I agree with that.
I mean, results oriented, Dom played it perfectly. Bet once and don't ever bet again. But. And there it is. I knew Nick was joining us again.
And you knew that Andreas re-entered and got drawn the same table that he busted from.
I actually did not know that. That I didn't know. We're well over 100 entries though now, I think now. Which means this prize pool is over 10 million euros. Phil Hellmuth came in earlier today, played at exactly 12 hands of poker.
I
and was
read
eliminated.
that.
Came in, saw 12 hands, played all 12 hands, and was out. I'm not sure if he had a date tonight. I'm not sure if he had someplace to be. I don't know. But the 14-time bracelet winner did not have a primed mind coming into this one.
Yeah, I'm sure he took everything very graciously when he got knocked out after 12 hands.
Alberto tweets me at Tuck on Sports, says, what are the chip denominations for the 111,000 high roller? Pink chips, as we look at the outside tables there. That was Dan Shack with some chips. Pink chips are 500K, gray chips are 100K, blue chips are 25K, and the orange chips are 5K. Maria Ho alongside me here for the high roller for one drop. We are in Rosvedov at King's Casino. Fedor raising in the hijack with ace-7. Eiler's going to call in the small blind. Ooh, and Elke picks up ace-jack in the big blind.
And this is a hand that I would imagine Elke, what does Elke have to start with?
He doesn't have a ton of chips. He's got about $1 million, say about $1.6 million, maybe
Okay.
31 big blinds.
Then he might actually just shove here with ace-jack suited against the hijack open of Fedor and Eilers. He might shove, he might 3-bet. I don't think...
If he 3-bets, he's 3-betting the call off, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go. He is going to 3-bet. With about 30 big blinds, I mean, his hand is easily stronger than his opponent's ranges here. And
would you ever just call? I mean, obviously folding's not an option, but would you ever just call it? The hand plays well post-flop.
sure, but I think you find yourself in some difficult spots, though, against someone like Fedor in position when you do just flat here. I think if the flop is like 9, 8, 7, then you're basically just going to be check folding to Fedor, and it's going to be difficult to play.
And by the way, I mean, one of his aces was dead, one of his jacks was dead. It was very unlikely that he was going to miss the flop.
Right.
70 players remain out of 104 entries. Once again, the registration period has not closed. I expect that we'll get at least 4 or 5 more entries tomorrow. Players come back at 2 p.m. Levels are 60 minutes long, and 30-60. So we come back tomorrow at 40-80. Players come back tomorrow, starting stack with 25 big blinds if you rebuy.
That's actually not bad, especially since the field is big. Like you said, it looks like a decent field. I think I wouldn't be surprised at quite a few day 2 entries.
If you decide to play, let me know. I'll buy 1% of your action.
Nice. I will let you know.
Troyanovsky all in for 790,000 for just about 16 big blinds. This is a cutoff 3-bet. P-Doon's got ace-10 after a Dom opens. So Dom opens under the gun minimum. Troyanovsky moves all in for 16 bigs. You got ace-10 offsuit, but you don't close the action. You still have to worry about Dom under the gun. I think this is a fold.
Yeah, I would absolutely be folding ace-10 here.
15 big blinds.
I like that answer.
For Dom, it's a bit closer, but he's not going to call here.
I was going to say, what, you're probably calling with like 7s plus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be calling with 7s plus. Against,
Fours, I guess the problem with
against
fours
the
is-
standard 3-betting range of someone, but you know, it depends if the person's all-in range, it seems fairly wide than maybe with sixes. But
Right. I mean, if it's me and I'm on tilt, then you just call. Because you know the guy has nothing. I mean, I guess the problem with calling with fours is just, even if your opponent could easily have you as a 4-to-1 dog.
yeah,
You know, if he's got an overpair. And when he's just messing around, he still has 2 overcards.
right.
At least with sevens, you know, occasionally you're actually
And
dominating
it was
them.
like almost 30% of Dom stack to call there, so.
Right. Banana?
No, thank you. You're a good sharer, though, Dave. It's a good quality to
I'm a
have.
giver.
I'll have to ask your wife about that.
I am a giver. $105,000 call here from P. Doon from the small blind. Fedor opening under the gun. Somebody mentioned earlier on, under the gun is like the new button.
That's true. Some people even say the big blind is the new under the gun.
Really?
Yeah.
Who says that?
Some
Some people?
good poker players. I think Felipe Mojave showed with the 4-3 off that the big blind is the new under the gun when he 3-bet there.
Ah, right.
It's like a good place to show a lot of strength.
Because people don't think you would. People just think, well, you can just check, or you can just call and
Because
see
the
the flop.
majority of players are always just defending their big blind instead
Right.
of 3-betting out of it.
Fedor checks back his pair of 8s. And if you're P. Doon, it's kind of like your hand.
Yeah,
And even if you are behind, you picked up a gutter.
yeah, and
Fedor's going to check once again.
I feel like with 2 flush draws and straight draw possible, I think Fedor was always going to check back that turn.
This is going to be tough for Fedor to get away from, I think. I mean,
P. Doon's timing, by the way, was just, I don't know. There's definitely something to be said about timing tells, and he bet that river so fast that it's like a combination, right? It like looks like super strong, but also kind of weak. Like, because think about this: if you have a hand like a king, you're gonna think about it before you bet that river when the straight comes in.
well, is there really a
So-
difference between a king and 10s
No,
at this point?
but that's what I'm saying is I think P. Doon, because he does have 10s here, he's actually trying to rep more strength than he actually feels
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
has. And that's where I'm saying the timing tell comes in, because if you have a king here, you probably will want to bet this for value, but you will take a second to think about it because of the run out. And so he doesn't really ever have straights here, in my opinion, based on just the timing tell alone.
I can understand that.
So
That
in
said, I mean, he has more 5s in his range than Fedor. That's for sure, right?
Yeah. But I think that's why Fedor is actually going to...
It looked like he was going to snap call, and then he kind of like just stopped himself.
I just think the timing tell is really going through Fedor's mind right now. I think it's actually... He's just a little confused as to what hands he's betting so quick on the river. Even if he has a straight, though, he probably does think about his sizing a little bit more and takes a little more time, but either
Nice
way.
laydown by Fedor.
Yeah.
I mean, after checking back, second pair, 2 streets, that's tough. To not lose at least 1 street of value on that hand, that's pretty impressive. This is day 1 of the high roller for the 1 drop. 111,000 euros is what it costs to get in. Re-entries are only 100,000 euros, though. You get
Right.
the rebate.
Yeah.
And if you don't know much about the 1 Drop Foundation, I encourage you to go check it out. Go online, do the research on your own. And if you're enjoying the stream, it is free. And if you can, why not give? You'll feel good about yourself.
Against this guy, I call.
This guy, you don't even need good hand. Fuck this guy.
People asking about the payouts. We don't know what the payouts are yet because obviously registration is not closed. Eiler, as you mentioned, re-entered, got the same table, and he is going to raise it up to 110,000 with Jack 10 suited. Flops top pair. Eiler bets. Snap fold from Fedor, and we continue on. Got about an hour and 20 minutes left in play tonight. We'll come back tomorrow with the blinds at 40,000, 80,000. I'm looking forward to kind of sweating the main. I love the fact that we'll be covering day 2 of this tomorrow, and at the same time, sweating the main event. One other event going on right now at King's Casino is event number 8, the 1,111 euro little one for one drop. That got 868 entries, and they are down to their final 12. And as shocking as it might seem, only 2 Germans left in that field.
Well, the Germans decided to not play that event and play this event, so.
Ooh, some big hands.
Wow, yeah.
Raise from Eiler with 2 red 10s. Elke calls.
And, you know, I think that Eiler might actually, what does he have? Yeah, he has 38 big blinds. He might just go with this hand because it looks like such a good spot for Dom to squeeze, and Dom is the kind of person that would take every spot that he sees when it comes to, you know, being in position, seeing someone raise and having someone flat. They're also playing, what, short-handed, right? Like 6, I mean, I just think there's all the reasons for Eiler to probably just put in the whole stack here, but.
I mean, 10s are too good a hand to fold, and if he calls this with his stack, he's going to really be in a tough spot when the flop comes out.
Right, and he's
Queen,
putting, you know,
7-3.
And he's putting, what, 8 big blinds in pre and then being out of position. So I don't see a huge difference between just shoving.
Obviously, Dom never going to fold this. I mean, does anything go into the fact that he only got knocked out like 28 minutes ago, and he just bought in for another 100,000 euros?
Well, that depends on how big his bankroll is, though.
Right. He's going with it. It looks like, wow, well.
He's counting his stack and likely going with it.
10's just a difficult hand to play out of position against a good player. There's the all-in. Dom calls.
Flip. Good luck. It's a flip.
Notice how the guy with ace-king always says it's a flip.
I don't feel like I got this one. You?
Are we rooting for Eiler again here?
I don't know. This one's tougher because personally I'm friends with Dom. Ooh, and
How about a jack for a sweat?
no.
Just a 10 here.
What do we think? Do we think Eiler's going to buy in again, or what's the line?
I don't know. I mean, the thing for him that's quite annoying is before dinner break, he had some chips. He lost a couple of big hands in unfortunate ways. One was against the Brazilian, Felipe Ramos, where on he raised the ace-7, Ramos 3-bet with jacks. Flop came out ace-7-4. It went bet call, turn was a jack. And he ended up doubling up Ramos. And that was just like a tough situation for him.
Right.
Ganz wenig Falle. Ja. Fast nie Falle.
Ja, also
Probably depends how frustrated he is, and again, how big his
Maybe
bankroll
he
is.
could just go to sleep and come back tomorrow.
I mean, at this point, there's not that big a difference, and you might want to do that, actually. I mean, if you're not, 100% emotionally, together.
Right.
Schon ganz eng und Wahrscheinlichkeit.
Elke having a great year. Not that he hasn't always been a great poker player, but he has so many different interests
Yeah.
that I think we kind of forgot about him for a little bit.
Well, and he kind of stopped making a lot of noise on the scene, and he was playing a little bit less as well, so it's probably a function of that as well. But then he really came back strong this year.
Yeah. Of course, finishing runner-up to Doug Polk this summer.
Yep.
In the one-drop high roller. Now he's on bullet number 2 here. Raise here from Pidun in the hijack. Tryanovsky. Of course, we're on a 30-minute delay, guys. We've got a fun day, a lot of table talk, not a ton at this particular table.
Everyone seems to be too busy being on their phones. It's okay, guys. It's only 111K buy-in. No need to pay attention.
That's all good. Got about hour and 15 minutes, hour and 10 minutes left in tonight's action, I think. Somewhere in that range. Elke in the big blind with king 6 offsuit.
He's definitely going to defend here. It's only just over a min raise here.
Just getting too good a price. People don't realize. I mean, he's getting 4 to 1 plus implied odds. And that could happen.
This is an action flop here.
Yeah, for sure. Again, Elke doesn't have a ton of chips. Pidun does.
And I think there's an argument to be made for check raising this flop by Elke versus just calling. I think depending on what he has back, of course, check raising probably makes a lot of sense. Plus, there's a lot of draws. And if Pidun didn't have the draw, it makes Elke's hand look more like a draw. So if Pidun actually had, a king-queen type hand, he's more likely to still continue against Elke's check raise on this board texture.
So you're less likely to check raise. Let's say the flop is king 6-3 rainbow.
Yeah.
So Elke does raise. I don't think Pidun's going to go anywhere. He's got some backdoor straight possibilities and obviously the flush draw. We can see that he's about a 2 to 1 dog, and he's just going to go with it. Elke happy to get it in. Would you ever just, I understand you've got the flush draw, but once your opponent check raises on that flop, you could easily be up against a bigger flush draw.
Right.
Or a hand like this. Why not just call the extra 200,000 and see the turn?
Yeah, I think, this is what I was saying about it. Just depends. Ooh, that's a big, big turn for Pidun.
Yeah, he picks up a lot of outs here. He's a straight draw as well. Ace, a 9, or a club, and that's not going to do it for him.
And I think a lot of players do elect to call there with Jack 10 of clubs versus putting Elke all in. And I think it's a function of what Elke has back, and also sometimes some players overvalue their draws much more than other players. And I think Pidun's one of those people that don't understand that if he just calls that flop bet, there actually are some other options on the turn, given Elke could check the turn. If Elke did have, let's say, a bigger flush draw, and after Pidun calls the flop and the turns a brick, Elke could possibly check that hand to him, and then Pidun can play his hand several ways at that point and maybe either check, hoping to see a free river card, although he still doesn't know that he could have potentially been essentially drawing dead, or he could now rep something other than a draw himself.
Right. And maybe I'm being results oriented. I'm just thinking that more often than not, when Elke check raises there, if you shove, you probably don't have that much fold equity. I mean, Elke occasionally, of course, he's a great player. He's going to be balanced there.
Right.
And I assume occasionally he's going to have nothing.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, if
the times
let's
he
say,
has nothing, though, you could just call and probably take it away in the turn anyway.
Right. Right. I mean, if Pidun was someone who, you know, over c-bets flops, then Elke could have a lot more, you know, air in his check raising range against somebody like that.
Nice double dog. That's the double up there from Elke. And wow, he's going to. This is going to cost him.
Yeah, he's not going to get away from nines here against Troinovsky's button shove with
They're giving out champagne.
And he shouldn't get away from
18 bigs, yeah. Especially Petrangelo opening the cutoff, I think. Yeah, he's putting the chips in.
There it is, tens. But I think Troinovsky, he makes that play with sevens and eights also.
Yeah, he does. No, or obviously ace king, ace queen.
Yeah, all those hands.
Ace jack.
So tens versus nines. Ten still in the lead. A heart makes it a little bit more interesting. Well, not really anymore. Now just a 9. Oh, and look at that 9-ball corner pocket. 9 of spades. And Troinovsky hits the rail. Elke back to back. Double up with king 6. Then a knockout blow with 9s. And don't look now, but Elke goes from short stack to suddenly very, very healthy. No limit hold'em, a crazy game. It happens so quickly. You still want to be this guy when you grow up?
I do, actually. I'm sticking with my pick.
Okay. Elke on a little heater here. King 6 working for him so well a couple of hands ago. He's going to raise the button with it. Pidun with 2 black 7s. It's one of those weird hands where it just kind of feels like it's not good enough to 3-bet. I really want to see a flop, but I'm going to hate almost every flop that comes out. What do you do? You just call and see how it plays? I hope to flop something like this that you like.
I would probably 3-bet with 7s if I were him.
Just because the playability of the hand is...
Yes, but this is just the perfect flop for him. This is about as good as it could be without obviously hitting a set here.
Check, check.
Hola.
Continues to look good here for Pidun. Normally don't see players check back and then give up, but that's exactly what Elke has done here.
Full.
Newly.
Newly.
You got the right guy, it's okay.
You don't know you here.
Who doesn't know Paul Newey?
Apparently, Mustafa Kanit has been eliminated.
I thought you were working on something genius there. You were like supercomputer and
Maybe a call?
I bet Nick has nothing. He's the Johnny guy. Yeah.
Pink chips you see are worth 500,000 each. The gray ones are 100,000. Blue chips 25K, orange chips 5K. Maria Ho, David Tuckman in the booth here for the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe in Rosvadov. Rosvadov kind of right in between Munich and Prague. Came out here in February, flew into Prague. This time I decided to fly into Munich. Elke raising again. Been very active as of late. And Nick's going to give it up as well. I think one of my favorite pastimes at poker is just the people watching, because you get such different walks of life.
Especially in events like High Rollers, I feel like you really get a very interesting, eclectic, dynamic group of players.
Elke raising again. This time he's going to get played back at, though.
One would think, but
Right.
Pidun has been kind of on the cautious side, but yes, this is...
Oh, he just
wow.
called.
Okay.
Now, it isn't under the gun raise, but keep in mind, we're short-handed.
He does seem to like the post-flop game a little bit better than the pre-flop game, I believe.
Fedor comes along for the ride. And then Nui, our new player, with 5-3 offsuit.
Is he going to defend? I mean, he, you
Great
know,
player. He's
it's-
getting a
yeah,
great
I mean,
price. Well, he's really short, though. I mean, do you just call this and just hope to hit a lottery? I mean, it's
it's definitely
55,000.
the bottom of the range.
He's getting
but
8-1.
Yeah.
No, he's going to give it up. He's going to beat himself up for days if a flop comes out like King 5-5 or something like that. He would have flopped a pair of threes. And probably, depending on how he felt, might have had to go with it. Jacks are still good here. Fedor, though, with the flush draw.
But I think, you know, this makes Jacks kind of tough to play. You have someone behind you, and not just anybody. You have Fedor behind you. And so I think if you're not going to 3-bet Jacks pre, then I think check calling this type of flop is much better than Pidun trying to bet here.
Right. I think Jacks are one of those hands that if you're never 3-betting, it's probably a mistake. And if you're always 3-betting, it's probably a mistake.
And
Oh, and look at this turn card. Oh, my. Elke turns a set. Now, Fedor checked back the flush draw.
And I
It's gonna
actually
be
really like
impossible
that.
for Elke to put him on this.
I mean, it definitely disguises not only that Fedor had the flush draw, but the nut flush draw. I don't think you see a lot of players check back flush draws, but actually multi-way, I like Fedor's check back here.
I mean, if you're Elke, how do you... Maybe you're losing to 5-6, but you'd imagine one of those players would have bet 5-6. Clubs, again, same thing. You'd imagine one of these players would have bet clubs.
But the good news is Holt is not going to raise on the turn, and if he does raise, it would be on the river, and maybe for Elke, he'll get lucky and the board will pair, or maybe another club will come off,
Right.
and it'll make it easier for him to get away from this hand. But in this spot, I don't see Fedor raising. His hand just looks too strong if he raises against two people here.
Although, what's he repping when he raises the turn? I mean, he's repping a flush, but wouldn't you be thinking, going, wait, you didn't bet the flush, and now you're going to rep the flush?
Right.
He does just call. Pot is 1.1 million. Elke looking for the board to pair. Pidun is drawing dead.
Elke looking for the board to pair, but not necessarily knowing that he's looking for the board to pair.
Right now, he
Doesn't have a lottery.
for him, he's just thinking, please don't put please don't put another club out there.
Right.
I mean, as far as Elke, he loves that he loves the river card, right?
Yeah, and I think I would be surprised to see Pidun call here on the river when Elke bets, and obviously Holtz is going to put in a raise. Oh, wow. Elke does check, which actually I think against two players isn't the worst thing to do. I think you have to think when there's a call and an overcall on a flush board, maybe someone does have the flush.
Well, Fedor on 2.49 million is going to add some more chips to his stack. It just depends on how much. What are you sizing this? The pot's about 1.2 million.
I think I would honestly just go with. Here's the thing though, is Fedor could have a hand that contains just the naked ace of clubs, and in that case, if you size it pretty big, you might actually get called, but you have to only get called by a hand like a set, because you don't want to size it too big, because a king's not going to call you anymore probably.
How many offsuit aces does Fedor have in his range when he calls a raise pre-flop?
Not very many.
Okay. How often does Elke actually maybe bet the turn with the ace of clubs and then hit an ace and check it?
That's definitely a possibility, but yeah, I mean, Holtz bets
825.
half pot here, which is what
Actually
I would.
more. Pot was 1.2.
Okay. I mean, I would have said that he's going to bet on the smaller side, like somewhere between 40 to 60% pot, because I think.
I don't think Elke can ever fold.
No,
this.
he can't. But he doesn't love it. Like, you can see
No,
it on
just
his
look
face.
at him. He really doesn't. It's amazing. I mean, Elke is going to lose minimum here. Yeah, and look at Elke. He's just like, why can't somebody just bet the flop and I'd be done with it?
Right.
Like the only card on the whole deck on the turn that's going to like cost me money.
There goes most of Elke's newfound
People told
chips.
me what you had.
You won the minimum, Fedor. You won the minimum.
You can just watch it.
I mean,
The minimum is if I check.
that'd be a pretty bad check.
Huh?
That'd be pretty bad. Actually, you get penalty, no?
Pretty bad.
You get a penalty if you check.
Huh?
You get a penalty if you check.
That would be the minimum, though.
Did he say you played it pretty bad?
No.
I thought that's what he said.
Oh, he said that would be pretty bad if I check.
Yeah, I agree.
Dom's been quiet. 7-5 suited. That's just too good a hand for him to do anything but raise with.
Especially when you're Dom.
Yeah, first time I got to commentate on Dom was a while ago when I commentated on his first major win, which was an LAPT event, and he dominated. He was like 18 years
Dom
old.
dominated.
Exactly, the Dominator. No, but he just crushed. I mean, it was almost like Stu Unger-like. He raised like 16 out of 19 hands, and nobody would fight back.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, I guess that's not a bad flop for 7-5 at diamonds. Flops the gutter with the flush draw. Elke defending out of the big blind.
This is just going to go bet fold. So.
Yeah.
Jan leider nicht ganz mitverfolgt.
Dom, can you change that for
Check
I mean, I think it's funny also, you know, we see the cards, and we're thinking, wow, you know, if Fedor raises the turn there, yeah, you lose the guy with jacks, but he didn't put any more chips in there anyway. There's no way Elke can fold because he doesn't. You got to realize that Fedor is playing against what Elke's range is,
Right.
not his exact hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some arguments to be made for raising on the turn there. I think there's not a lot of believability there, especially when you're Fedor and capable. But if your opponents have very weak ranges there, which like Pidun's range was super weak to call there, I don't think you're getting a lot of value.
And the Fedor train starting to heat up. Fedor now on somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 million chips. Slow start of the day, but he's finishing strong. Sure, she's saying check back the nut flush draw and second nut flush draw is super standard these days. Bluff the ones without showdown value and check the ones with showdown value and pair value. I'm just wondering though, when you get and I'll ask you, Maria, when you get an early position open and a flat,
You don't have a ton of showdown value with
ace
the
high.
nut flush draw there, in my opinion. But I am saying that I think multi-way checking back flush draws is more common than it was before. But I wouldn't say that in that spot, ace high particularly has a lot of showdown value.
I mean, a heads-up situation, much different.
Right.
Right. That was also there wasn't anybody in the blind. That was an under the gun open, a flat under the gun +1, and then a call. Thanks for the insight, though. Appreciate the input.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that assessment for the most part. I just don't think in that spot that Fedor is thinking that he has a lot of showdown value with
Right.
ace high.
That's the thing. I think sometimes we look at a pair or we look at ace high and we immediately think we have showdown value.
Right.
And that's not always the case. I mean, there are certain situations where you have to know that even middle pair does not have showdown value. You've got to turn that hand into a bluff
Right.
or
People
just
turn
give
ace
up.
highs into bluffs in certain situations.
Right.
So
Fedor with king 10, Dominic with ace jack. Dominic checks out of the big blind. Pot is 265,000. Fedor with some backdoor equity here. He's going to take a shot at it. Obviously, it's not going to work. And Fedor loves to raise under the gun.
because he did get the memo that under the gun is the new button.
My feelings won't be hurt if you tell me no, because I know you play so much poker and you do watch a lot of poker. But do you watch, I mean, are you a fan of the game in the sense that you'll watch this to learn?
I think the way that streams are nowadays, just how high quality the production is and the commentators are, such as yourself and people, no, I'm being serious. I think it makes it much more of a better learning tool than it used to be. I would say that before 5 years ago, I was not watching a lot of the live streams, but now live streams are, you know, the whole cards are up. It's 10 to 12 hours of play. There's a lot, it's a lot better as a learning tool now than it used to be.
I think the draws that missed here. 7-5 missed, 9-7 missed, 9-10 missed. Queen 10 is a hand that you probably check call with.
Yeah, but Fedor does block the queen, like queen 10 and 10-9 misdraws. So there's
You're betting this if you're Dom, though, right? There's
Yeah,
enough draws that missed your
no,
betting.
right, absolutely. And Dom might bet somewhat on the big side too, because with the board pairing here on the river and those draws missing, he might think Fedor has a chance of calling him with a hand like ace high.
Right. This is the part of the game that I find so fascinating in terms of not only knowing should I be betting, but what's the sizing, what am I trying to tell my opponent. And he bets 400,000. I was actually thinking maybe 425 or something like that. Fedor looks at the board, glances back at Dom.
Yeah, and Dom did bet, you know, rather large here on the river, and Fedor is definitely thinking about calling here with king high. He's just trying to figure out the number of combos of misdraw type hands versus, you know, the combos which he blocks.
And if you don't think Dom is probably not betting an ace high type hand.
Right. So for value, you know, Dom has hands containing a jack, hands containing an eight. He's probably not, I mean,
Maybe
he would
six
value
X of clubs.
he would value bet maybe tens or nines, but holds blocks tens as well. So I mean, I think he just feels like there's not enough hands that he can beat there.
Fedor makes the right decision again.
I feel like I had it, Dom.
You didn't feel it? I had it. You're gonna know it. You're gonna know it afterwards anyway. It doesn't matter. Now
Yeah.
you can just ask me.
What was it?
What was it?
I had it. Maybe.
Blind's now
Dom's
30,000.
like, I'll just tell
60,000.
you, and then when Fedor asks,
Or
Dom's like,
four,
I had it,
7-5.
maybe.
Or 7-5. No? No, actually, I didn't know what you had. Or I didn't feel like anything. I just went to know.
Break.
No, I was thinking
Big
about.
surprise that I bet ace jack.
I was thinking about putting in a little, like not with the same,
Little information race.
little information raise.
I like the information race.
But then I realized I had a 10 in my hand, so I like it.
Doesn't help me as Kannst du mit Leuten machen, die zu viel auf den Flop hauen?
Still on that first nick? Grinding,
Nice looking jacket on Igor. Nui moves all in there with a short stack with ace jack of diamonds. He's gonna take it down.
Oh, my goodness. Just.
10.
Igor Kurganov. So many good players in this field.
Yeah. Petrangelo may be quiet at this feature, but he's definitely one of those very good players.
Yeah, he's been battling a short stack since we've had him on the feature table for a while now, and he has been battling the short stack ever since we've seen him. But I've covered enough of his tables to know how good he is.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So live stream tomorrow, I believe, will start at about 10:30 in the morning, East Coast time. I believe that's what we're looking at.
Should that be like
mark your
4:30
calendars.
p.m. here or something?
I think it's
Or
like 3:30 here.
3:30, yeah.
Yeah. I believe that's when we are starting, 10:30 in the morning, East Coast time. Or around 2:30 if you're in London, and wherever you might be in the world, you can figure it out. Once again, you are watching the 2017 World Series of Poker. This is the high roller for one drop. Prize pool over 10 million euros. Flop 6-3-3, 2 diamonds. So I was talking to somebody during dinner, and they were saying that they were thinking about playing this tournament. They played the 25K high roller, and they just said, these young Germans are just too good. So he decided not to play. What is separating this particular group of players?
The water that they're drinking. No, I mean,
That's it?
I think based on my very limited knowledge, I mean, I'm friends with a lot of the German players, but I obviously don't know the intricacies of what's a very tight-knit group in poker. I mean, I think there's a lot of information that they share with each other. They work on their game together. They, you know, run a lot of sims. They talk a lot of hands.
Okay.
There's just much more of an open forum of, you know, sharing content and, you know, I just think they work as a team in terms of the development of their game.
Do you think they would let me into their inner circle if I told them that I had some German in my family?
I think that that's a good start for getting in the group. I mean, do you speak any German? Because I think they talk about hands in German, though. So I don't know how much you will actually gain information-wise if you don't understand the language.
How hard could it be? I'll start learning German.
Well,
Actually,
this is easy.
That's funny you should say that, because I actually did start learning German on Duolingo recently.
How's your German?
Oh, I mean, I just started a couple weeks ago, so it's not great. But
So, like,
listen,
semi-fluent.
I'm gonna put some time and work into it.
Okay, listen, you and I will do this on Duolingo.
Okay.
And then next time we're like at a tournament series with a bunch of young German phenoms, we can just hang out in the corner and speak German
Yes.
and see if they're like, wait a second, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
We'll just say fancy words.
I mean, listen, they're nice guys. Like, I
No,
wouldn't.
they are.
They're not ready to they're not gonna shun us just because we're not native German speakers.
Right.
We just need to show an interest in the language.
I mean, you can always tell them that you have German in your family
Yeah.
as well. Maria Ho, David Tuckman here. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're back at it tomorrow and every single day for the next week here at WSOP.com/live and, of course, Twitch.tv. Poker Room Kings. Dominic, now our chip leader at this particular table with 5.5 million. Fedor on 4.1. Nui, our short stack at just 11 big blinds. Blinds are 30,000, 60,000 right now. They'll pop up tomorrow to 40, 80.
Which one?
So by the time we come into the stream tomorrow, we should know what our total entries are and the payouts.
No, raise it.
Is that? Not yet. But here it comes.
All you can eat for Nick with the deuces.
Very standard here to shove with just over 11 bigs here on the button with a
And
pair.
he's going to get called. Elke's got 2 overs.
It's classic.
The classic.
I just gave away my rebuy money.
This is the last level that they're playing today for the people that were asking.
Oh, it's a bad start for Nick. Nick looking for a deuce.
Good luck. See you tomorrow.
Nick said he just gave away his rebuy money, but he did say, I will see you tomorrow. So there's one player who's definitely going to re-enter tomorrow. Is he wearing his hotel slippers?
Yeah, I feel like a few players do that these days. And listen, you can't blame them. I mean, they're all about being comfortable at the poker table.
But why not? I mean, these guys are playing 111,000
That's
euro
true.
tournaments. Can't you go out and splurge and get your own slippers?
That's
Why
true.
wear those skimpy hotel? Not that the hotel slippers aren't nice, but
There are more plush plush slippers that you could buy.
That's what I mean.
Versus the ones that they give for free. That's true.
I mean, I feel like that's the gift I gave my dad every single year come Christmas time or his birthday. It was like, you know, hey, Dad, here's the new Chewbacca ones. Oh, here's the new Garfield ones. You know, whatever was in vogue at that particular time.
Right.
I would think these guys would come out with some really great slippers.
Well, maybe Nick will do that before. He'll listen to the stream. He'll do that before play tomorrow.
I'm not sure if he can get it here in Roswell. But you know what, though? Nick, next summer, if I see you in Vegas at the World Series of Poker,
you're giving him
I might just go out and buy him a really nice pair of slippers. Seems like a nice guy. Padun with the flush draw, but just 5 high. And he checks it back. Now this would be a spot where the 5 high flush draw has very little showdown value.
Yes.
And he checks the turn too.
Yeah, and now I'm not really sure if this is the time to bet. I mean, he can't win, so he probably will bet, but he might just get looked up here because he's not repping much.
He also just gave his opponent, he also gave his opponent 4-1. Less time at the tanning salon, my friend. Come on. I mean, if he bets the turn, it's so much more believable.
Right. I think the river, once there's trips on board,
right, it's just like,
just doesn't really have any.
I mean, is he really checking a 6 on the flop and the turn?
Yeah.
I guess he could.
And you have to be an extremely high-level player to bet ace high there for value, but it has to be good ace highs too. You're not betting, you know, because the kicker plays in that spot. So, yeah, that wasn't a good.
I mean, if you were going to wait to the river to do it, I don't know. I just don't know why you're waiting for the river with a 5 high flush draw. See, that's the perfect spot, by the way, getting back to the gentleman who mentioned checking back, you know, nut flush draws or second nut flush. That makes a ton of sense to check back occasionally in those spots because you do have showdown value. But letting your opponent get the showdown with king high, and then not only that, giving him an extra 60,000 to boot is something that's a pretty bad error. Elke raising the button. Igor makes the call. And Elke flops trip aces. No kicker. Last we checked, Igor and his partner in the tag team and partner in life, Liv, was in this tournament as well and doing quite well last we checked. They, of course, won a bracelet this summer at the World Series in the tag team event. And that's an event that's fairly new at the World Series that's just taken off. People love it.
Oh, yeah. I was so excited to play. I actually had some Germans on my tag team this summer because I know that that's a surefire way to put myself in a good place to win a bracelet.
The only thing about that tournament is, I mean, I was just so good, and I didn't really get to. Obviously, I'm doing the commentary, and I was doing the break desk all summer. I don't get to play much, but that was the one event this summer I actually got a chance to play.
And then what happened?
I have no words.
I had Jeff Gross,
Oh, you had
Brian
you did play,
Rast,
okay.
and
Oh, that
All
sounds
American
like a
Dave on my team.
Good team.
And I was the one who got him knocked out, which is just. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Like,
Yeah, but it happens.
it does, but you know what? I mean, it's one thing if Rast gets, like, if he's the one who eliminates us, we're like, okay, we know how good you are. No. But if it's me, I'm like, sorry.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
I'm not. But just kind of funny, you know, because it's the nature of the beast and that, like, somebody has to get knocked out.
Right.
And you don't want to let your teammates down.
Totally. It's more pressure, for sure, to play in a team situation.
I hand it to Liv and Igor, by the way, because if I was playing with my wife, she'd kill me. Like, if I ever gave her, like, okay, tag, you're back in, and I'm like, she's like, I have less chips than I gave you. What happened? Knew he's all in here from the hijack. Elke's going to let the ace-5 go. Padun's not going to call that. This is a 10 big blind shove.
It could be good.
and it's not going to get any action.
Your review of checking that hand is could be pretty solid, depending on what other cards you have as well.
I think check shove with ace-9, ace-diamond seems like
Sure.
pretty viable.
Sure. Did he have the ace of diamonds though?
I don't know. But I'm just saying, it's like,
Against an against an overbet, it's pretty.
turn and check, so
And then
you can discount votes, a lot of votes.
Got about 45 minutes left in tonight's action, guys. Shop WSOP.com for your favorite World Series of poker goodies.
Yeah, that part for sure.
Wait, knew he just had kings.
Check raise.
He did, and now he has a little more than 10 bigs, so maybe he might consider raising versus jamming. Although, I don't know, depending on his reputation, like it actually might look stronger when you raise off of that stack size versus just jamming. So more often than not, I think I prefer jamming with big hands with that stack size.
I mean, the only thing with that is when you jam, your opponents actually have to have something.
Right.
They just can't make a mistake. And against these players, you know, when you're playing against the best in the world, most of them aren't going to make, they know exactly what they're calling with.
Right.
Against an under the gun 12 big blind shove.
Yeah.
12 and a half big blinds, whatever it might be. I don't know Nui's story.
I don't know.